Hey you, this is Vicky Joe, and I've gone online lately and noticed on YouTube a lot of people are posting these, I'm an INTJ, and I'm an INTP, and I'm an INFP, and I'm an INFJ. Little video confessionals, I suppose, to describe their type pattern. So I thought, oh, maybe I ought to do one of those. So here we go. I'm Vicky Joe, and I have preferences for INFJ. There's a good chance you already know me because I have websites that have been out there for quite a number of years now, actually. www.infj.com and INFJ or INFP.com, which I created because huge numbers of people are mistyped as INFJs and don't actually have INFJ preferences. So that site was intended to help navigate people, steer them in the right direction. I chose INFP because it seemed as though so many people had that particular error. Subsequently, I think maybe I should have done, I don't know, INFJ or ENFP.com, finding that unbelievably more often than you would imagine, or shoot, every type pattern under the sun seems to mistype as INFJ. So, and the reason I'm sharing that with you is be skeptical when you see other videos and other messages from people claiming they have INFJ preferences. Be a little skeptical because there's a strong chance that that's not actually true. I'm trying to keep this in the 10-minute limit for YouTube for once, and it's almost impossible to talk about what's important about INFJ in that amount of time. For the record, I'm an MBTI Master Practitioner. I became certified in 1996, 97, depending on how you slice it. Was interested in type long before that. Probably in the 90s would be about my era for that. And every day, I think through conversations with other people or just leaning into things that I'm encountering, I discover something new about type. So it has been a valuable, rewarding, ongoing experience. So to encapsulate that down into 10 minutes is next to impossible. What I do know is that I discovered somewhere along the line that I had a preference for introversion, and it didn't stick. I didn't think much about it. But at some point along the way, I really got it, that I had a preference for introversion. And it's funny because I think it was out here in my orbit, and I just wasn't willing to embrace it. So I would say I spent a large part of my life thinking I was normal, whatever that is, and then wondering what was wrong with me. Interestingly, everyone in my family of origin has a preference for introversion. So that was the coin of the realm. That's how we all just knew to be with one another. And when I went off to college, they put me in a room with a roommate. And God help her. It was not pretty. It was not pretty. And I didn't have the social skills or the resources or any idea how to handle that, how to deal with it. And wow, do I owe her like the world's biggest apology, because I think I was just a witch, to put it lightly. And my first roommate didn't last long. She switched out and somebody else roomed with me, and even that was a little dicey. And then I got another roommate who was a friend, and that was better. But literally the last maybe even 2.5 years of college, I had a private room, a single they called it. Oh man, did I need that? Who knew? And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I always had this sense like, well, I'm a personable person. You know, I'm friendly, I'm, you know, nice to talk to, I'm a nice girl, all of that stuff. And yet I remember there were nights where I just cried my eyes out because I felt like I had the biggest Rolodex in the world, but I didn't have any friends. And I would say that's been a pattern through my whole life, a feeling like maybe I had one friend, maybe two at best, but I don't know if I've ever had beyond that. And I mean friends, you know, like they knew my ugly side, they knew my tears and my pain. Very hard for me to let people into my pain. So there's a real sense of loneliness that can come from that. And of course when you're in Los Angeles and you know, you're working in entertainment and it's so important about, you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That was a real burden, a real challenge that I kept confronting over and over and over, and had many teary, distressed nights, wondering what was wrong with me. And when I finally got it, I'm an introvert. I am an introvert, and really embraced that and accepted that and got a load of that. It made a big difference, and even today I'm still struggling with that. I would say that's just the ongoing barrier, always. Like, other people don't accept it, I can't accept it, I'm challenged around it, they're challenged around it, like have just to this day not found a way to really fully be with it, other than knowing it on an intellectual level. So that's one of the gifts of understanding type. Another gift is the recognition that it's a template, it's a developmental model, and I'm not confined by it, that even though I have a preference for introversion, I can develop my extroversion. I'm exercising it right now by speaking to you. And I can always kind of, you know, push the edges on that, push the boundaries, and stretch beyond who I am. I get real, I don't know, agitated, anxious when people treat type like it's this little box and you have to get in your little, you know, 4 letters of the box, and now you're limited to that. Because the person I was, you know, 10, 15, 30 years ago, it's a different box, if there's a box at all. I mean, it's this constant expansion. And the excitement of knowing that what I really aspire toward would be, for lack of a better label, to aspire to be ESTP. And nowadays I go and I present at conferences, and you know, I maybe have a preference for introversion, but I'm in front of the room, I'm leading the room, I'm saying, you know, you go here, and you go there, and up and down, and, you know, do this homework, and turn to your partner, and you know, what's that like, and addressing the room, and trying to be present. And being present is the hardest challenge there is for me. Like, I just don't want to be present. And it's so easy for me to check out, my eyes roll back in my head, or if I'm in front of the room, I can go unconscious very easily. I can suddenly get really nervous about, you know, some minor thing, and it's like I lose consciousness and I'm not in the room anymore. So where I am in my developmental path is that I am becoming more capable of being present, compared to myself as a child, who was always in the book and, you know, always in her room, and had no interest in what was out there and other people. So that's kind of been my journey. There's so much more I could talk about, you know, having a preference for feeling, having a preference for introverted thinking, opening up and exercising that extroverted sensing and becoming more fully present. But I wanted to keep this short. So that's a little taste of INFJ from my perspective, what it's like to be me, my world. And please come check out one of my websites. I have a professional coaching website at typeinsights.com, and there's more information there. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Talk to you later.